Hello, everybody. Andrew Blake from thedigital-audio-manual.com with another episode of Cubase Tips for the week of December 12th, 2025. Let's have a look at the Arranger track. Surely you have probably used the Arranger track by now. Let me show you a couple of things. This is some refresher notes that might help you along. Of course, to add an Arranger track, you want to go to your inspector, add a track, and then come down to the Arranger track. Once you have an Arranger track, you can switch to your pencil tool and quickly draw in more Arranger events. And usually as you draw these in, they get renamed to help you organize them. But let's take this particular Arranger event, this little 4-bar section, and I'll do a global copy, repeat it 4 different times. And in this case, every Arranger event still has the same letter A. If you actually highlight the Arranger track in the inspector, you get this window at the bottom. It has the Arranger events. You click on these or double click on them. Can't change the names. On the other hand, if you hold the Alt key and then double click these, then you can quickly put in a different name. I'll just call these A, B, C, D. Just like that, I now have my Arranger events all renamed. A quick way to make some changes is to take each one of these and make some slight changes to them. Let's say for the last one, keep all the instruments in. Maybe on this one before that, let's drop the drums out. Because I have everything in a folder, I can just mute the folder. Go to the second Arranger, and I'll hit the bass folder and mute that out. Then maybe on this first one, I'll mute out the synth sounds. Changing the different elements on your different parts immediately gives you a different perspective and may help you find the arrangement of instruments you're ultimately looking for. But again, once you have an Arranger track, now you can come over to these Arranger events and simply click on them, and then quickly audition different ways of playing these parts. Mix them up any way you want. Let's go to part D. Or I want to hear part A. And then jump to part C. Immediately just having a lot more fun with your basic ideas, and it may lead you to find the real idea that you're looking for. All right, let's talk about transpose functions. There's a few ways you can transpose in Cubase, but one of those options is what's called using the root key up here on the toolbar. You may want to check by right-clicking and come down to where it says Project Root Key, and make sure that's checked. But when you see it, you get this little alpha omega sign. If you click that, you get a drop-down list, and it shows all the different keys here. But what you'll notice, if I play this song, and then I change these different keys, right now it says C sharp, or I'm going to go to F, it's having no effect on the music. And your first thought may be that this function doesn't even work. Well, the thing you have to understand when you use the project root key and you want to transpose your songs is that all the events in your project also have to have some kind of root key information. For example, if I click on one of these, and I look up on the info line, there's a category that says root key. And right now it's blank. If I click on that option, again, I have that list of all the different keys, and I could choose one. If I do choose one, let's say I take E, for example, and move over to the next event, again, there's no root key on this event. If I go back to the previous one, it shows E. So you want to make sure that you choose all of your events that you want to affect, which is usually everything minus any drums or percussion. And then you can come up on the info bar, choose that root key option, and pick whatever one you want. I'm going to choose D. What you choose as the root key here isn't necessarily so critical. What we're going to do just kind of put some information that the project root key can work off of. But now because I've chosen all these different events, if I click on any particular event, then back up on the info line, it shows the root key is now D. Now listen to what happens when I go back up on the main toolbar and change this project root key. Again, right now, it's on the little dash, so everything remains at its original place. Let's play the music and change this. I'm going to move it down to F. Obviously, a major difference. Let's go to A. Or to C. And you can also just use your mouse wheel to spin over these various letters and quickly change this. This is a great option when you're trying to find where the musical key is that works for a vocalist, because they can then sing over the different keys until they find whatever range is comfortable. So have some fun with that one. All right, let's talk about markers. Markers are kind of like the Arranger track. It helps you identify things like your verse and your chorus, or anything that you think is significant and you want to make some kind of mark and be able to get to that part of your project quickly. To begin with markers, you have to open a marker track. If we go to the inspector, add a marker track, you can actually create up to 10 different marker tracks. If you come down to the count area, you can spin this thing up almost indefinitely. Right now I've got it set to 30, but when I add the tracks, it will only add a total of 10 marker tracks because that's as many as you can have. There's two different kinds of markers. There's a marker that's called a position marker, and there's a marker that's called a cycle marker. Let's start with the position marker. You can simply change over to our pencil tool, and anywhere on the track we want to draw one, you just click and draw it. I can put one at every one of these sections. Then when I come to the far left, again, I can just hit these different areas and immediately have my cursor move to that position. If I'm playing the song, then I can move these in real time. For simplicity, let's put our cycles on the next track, although we could put them on the same track. One of the easiest ways to create a cycle marker is to switch over to your range tool. Then you can drag out a specific range. And on the track itself, there's little icons. This one is the cycle marker. If I hit that, then it creates this cycle marker over the range. Let's set up 4 of those, doing the same thing. Cycle markers are good when you want to loop over a certain section or just select the whole section. I can double click on the cycle marker and my loop moves to that area, and I can immediately start playing that area. When you select the track, this inspector changes as well. When I move to this one, it shows my position markers, and immediately when I choose this track, it shows all my cycle markers. There's also this little E on the track itself, which allows you a lot of other options, and the choice, put a description in here if you want. For example, you could say verse, chorus, or whatever. So if you're not using markers, be sure to take advantage of that feature so you can quickly get around and navigate through your project. If you're looking for more in-depth explanations on all these subjects, be sure to click the link in the description of this video or stop by thedigitalaudio.manual.com.